when there is no rule of law, when there's orderliness, then people who don't even know how society should be run would have the power of the gun to direct and control those that have been wrong. So we need to be circumspect. And of course, I agree that there's one of the expectations of the from the National Assembly, as I mentioned, is that we need to take the constitutional review exercise serious to ensure that we address the problem of restructuring, the question of devolution of power, and of course the question of the size, of government. We should be thinking along this line rather than taking a nihilistic approach to our relationship as a country and cohesiveness as a united Nigeria.
Twitter.
On Twitter, I would say that the Senate has not considered the issue of the Twitter ban. So if I express any opinion, it will be my personal opinion, and of course there is always the tendency that my opinion may be judged to be that opinion of the Senate. So I will say that I don't have the mandate of the Nigerian Senate to talk on Twitter, and I exercise restraints for the on the cautionary note, so that I will not be quoted as speaking for the Senate to talk about about Twitter. And of course, I also believe that journalists have access to the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation to challenge him and come up with legal basis for whatever action he has done. As a lawyer, I may just volunteer opinion that the basic of a rule of law, as early as 1493 in cases like Entic and Carrington, is that there must be legal basis for legislative and executive action. So I'm not here to talk about that. I think possibly when the Senate considers it in plenary, they will be able to have informed opinion that we can let the Nigerian people be aware of. Anything that has a beginning must have an end. So a 4-year tenure is a 4-year tenure, and we first give glory to Almighty God. There are quite a number of our people and actually are not here today to celebrate with us, because Almighty has taken them away. It's not out of any fault of theirs, but has been destined. So all of us we are grateful to God for giving us the grace to still be alive today, to even talk about 2 years. And we also are looking forward that He will also give us equal grace to also be here to celebrate the end of our tenure in 2023 June, as it were. I believe that you would have followed the proceedings and the various perspectives and dimensions that our people have brought to assessment of our past 2 years. And of course, one of the most difficult things anybody can do is to undertake self-assessment. There must be the tendency for you to be biased in your favor, or to, in an attempt at modesty, to even be unfair to yourself by being too overly critical. So we believe that ultimately the ultimate judge of our activities, one, as a Muslim, is the Almighty God, and of course as a politician is the people in our constituents that would also gather together and decide whether we merit, for some of us who will put ourselves forward in 2023, to be re-elected into the inner chambers. But from a more pragmatic point of view, I believe that in assessing us, we should look at 3 criteria that form the basis of our functions under the Constitution. And our functions are: 1, by Section 4, to make law for the good government of the people of Nigeria. That's the first parameter. So to that extent, questions may be asked: to what extent has the next assembly made law for the good government of Nigeria in all spheres of our society? The second will be: to what extent have we exercised our oversight function, which was given to us by the Constitution for 2 purposes. 1, to guide against inefficiency, and to also expose corruption. In other words, to ensure judicious use of money that have been appropriated. Of course, peculiar to the Senate of the chamber of the National Assembly is also our power to confirm appointments that have been made by executive, either pursuant to the Constitution or some other provisions of statutory provision. So I will say that in assessing us, which of course I believe you are eminently qualified, you should use these 3 barometer to check us. To what extent have we acquitted ourselves in making law for good government of our society? To what extent has our committees performed the oversight function for the purposes of exposing corruption and to also avoid inefficiency in the utilization of government resources? And to what extent have we also used the crucible of our constitutional mandate to ensure that those that have been appointed to critical executive positions have satisfied the requirements of the Constitution? And of course, I will say, of course, at the risk of being biased, to say that in terms of lawmaking, notwithstanding the challenge of COVID-19, which of course stopped our proceedings and locked down the entire world for the most part of 2020, we have been able to our credit come up with credible legislation that has supported good governance. One of these is the deep offshore and profit sharing contract, which has expanded the vista of revenue generation in the area of oil and gas sector. We have also been able to reverse the ungodly trend of having staccato system of budget cycle by ensuring that we refer back to January-December budget cycle. And of course, we have promptly also passed Finance Act to support revenue generation and also fiscal policies of the government. Also, the Police Act, which had remained unattended to for decades, had also been passed and assented to in the 9th Assembly. The same thing with Banks and Other Financial Institution Act, Company and Allied Matter Act, and of course bills that has impact in the health sector has also been done. And particularly the promptitude attitude of the National Assembly in the area of legislation and oversight has assisted us greatly, of course, in consonance with nature, to address strategically the challenge of COVID-19 in our country. Today, we have more ICU centers, we have more molecular laboratory, and we have in the better state of preparedness to tackle health challenges, as well as some other sector. Then, on terms of oversight function through our committee, and I will mention particularly the Petroleum Sector Committee, we have been able to interface with the NNPC to ensure that the cost of production of crude had been brought down within an appreciable level that will allow productivity, notwithstanding the vagaries and challenges of oil market that nearly brought economy down to its knee in 2020. And of course, some other areas in the area of finance, in the area of labor and productivity, and so on and so forth. We have been able to interface constructively with the executive. Also, in the area of security, you could see that largely in the area of attention being paid to this, no less than 22.2% of our resolutions and motions have been addressed to the area of security. And of course, about 40% devoted to the area of economy. That shows that we are not oblivious of the fact that security and of course economy are basic challenges and the expectation of the Nigerian people from us. While in certain regards we have done creditably well, we also know that we are still challenged, and they're looking for us to performing much better in the last segment of our administration. Then of course we are not oblivious of public expectations from the 9th National Assembly, and this include the expectation of the Nigerian public in the area of constitutional amendment. We are aware that Nigerian people are looking towards a constructive and genuine effort at constitutional amendment that address the question of structure of governance, devolution of power, and a government that is able to effectively deliver on security and welfare of our people. We also are aware of expectation of the Nigerian people as to Electoral Act that ensure transparency and integrity of the leadership recruitment mechanism in the country in a fair and transparent election. Of course, the Petroleum Industry Bill has also been part of the expectation to ensure that we make the maximum use of the legislation to get maximum yield for our country, particularly when the vagaries of international technological advancement is actually threatening the utility of oil and gas as a resource going forward. Then, of course, economy is also one of the areas that we know Nigerians are looking towards. How do we creatively make laws and partner with the executive to ensure that the teeming of unemployed Nigerians get gainfully employed, the productive sector expands, and of course address the welfare needs of our people. Security is the paramount purpose of government. This is an area that Nigerians have expectation of us, and going forward we will work on it. Attention has been called to the report of the Committee of the Senate on Security and the need for us to sit down and set up a committee to further look into this area to ensure that we come up with legislative intervention that unbundle the Nigerian police and create a truly zonal-based police structure that is autonomous budgetarily and operationally. Of course, Nigerians have also, and we are also aware, being representative of Nigerians, about the size of our government, particularly having regard to not only the legislative arm, but even the executive arm. A situation whereby of the 13.8 trillion budget of Nigeria, 5.9 trillion is going to recurrent expenditure. These are, we believe, are public expectations, and these have been highlighted in our special session today. And we believe that with your role as watchdog, you will take us to task on how far we are moving forward in being able to address and meet those expectations.